and I'm back here with my journal, Joy in Jail. And today I'm working on another one of the pages for this meditative, mindful meditation on the book of Philippians in the Bible. And we're learning lessons about being confined and how to experience joy in the midst of your confinements. So join me and let's see what we can do. I have only a couple of pages done so far, and we worked through the introduction to the book, and now we're moving on. And we're still kind of talking a little bit about ways in which we can discover a sense of spaciousness in the midst of confinement. And at the time of this airing, we're in the middle of a major world crisis of in terms of our new normal. And so most all of us are confined to some degree in a whole new way. So this is really timely, isn't it? Talking about Paul in jail, when he was in jail, and Paul had a way of being able to think through what it means to live in joy in the midst of your confinement. So we're just on another page. And on this page, I'm just kind of playing around with some ideas. This is just, I'm talking a little bit on this page about some ideas of what you can do when you're living a life of confinement. And I think that what I want to do with this here is I've set some stuff up, and I have done this flower here, and I'm going to put some gesso down and then get it going. And I think I have a plan for this page to set it up a little bit. One of the things that I'm discussing here and talking about is some ideas for what to do in times of being confined. And one of the things that I have done in the past when I have been in a state of confinement in my life is sometimes I will I have to change my space. And when I change my space and my living space and how I'm living, it is amazing how it changes my attitude. It gives me new perspective, and it allows me to kind of see things from a different angle. So I have been known to move my furniture around a lot when I can. I happen to live in a situation right now where my furniture is kind of where my furniture is, and there's nothing that I can do about that. So I can't move my furniture, but I can do things to try to make my space fresh and new. And one of the things that I've done in the past is I have created like a little private corner in my house where I've gotten a basket, and in that basket I've put all of my okay, now that I don't like. I got the wrong color there. How did that happen? I think I got the wrong. There we go. There we go. You know, if I can't move the furniture around and I can find like a little corner where I can put a chair, that I can make that my space where I sit and I read and I drink my coffee, and I move that space around my house a little bit sometimes. So that's one way that I have changed things around so that I get a sense of space and my environment changes. And so that's kind of the idea of taking a confinement situation and really making it your own. Okay, before I say much more about that, I'm going to tell you my thinking process here is I am going to turn this into a little pocket. And so I have already pre-written these out. And the prompt here is, can you envision ways that your surroundings could be changed in order to promote joy in the midst of your confinements? So it's that idea of just kind of moving your spaces around. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I have a few things. This is a writing card that I have put together, and on the back I like to use coffee dyed lined paper that I've done, and I've stamped this. And what I have been learning to do is just do a lot of these kinds of things way ahead of time, and that way when I go to putting my pages together, I can pull from my resources. So I thought a little writing card here, and then this prompt that I put down here will go there. And then I made this cute little booklet, and in it you'll see that I have like little flip pages. I just stapled it here, and I glued a strip of lace over the top. And then I've got this other prompt that I'm going to put in the booklet and then the booklet will allow for space to answer this prompt. What are some things in your life that keep you confined? Because, even if we're not in a situation where we're in a pandemic, where we all have to be locked away, and when this airs, by the time this airs, that situation will have changed. And because this won't go to air for a while. But you don't need a pandemic to feel confined, as we all know. Sometimes life circumstances can do that to us. We feel confined in our life circumstances. We can't get out of certain situations. And so what are some of those things in your life that might keep you confined in your life situation? Okay, I'm going to put this right over my flower, my dried flower there. And that's just going to sit on top of that, kind of flag it a little bit. And when this dries, I'm going to go ahead and ink it up a little bit here to distress it, and then I'll come back to it, and then we'll work on actually putting it on the page. So, and I've got a little page here of music, and let me go ahead and get this kind of working here for me. So I like to tear my paper. I just like that style, and I think I'm gonna put it right there. It needs to clean that up just a little bit. And one of the things that has always helped me in these situations is I take time out to make the best of the confinement as much as I can, and Paul certainly does this. He takes the opportunity when he is in jail, he takes the opportunity to write letters. And so this particular book of the Bible is a letter that he writes to the Philippians, and he's talking about his confinements, but I think we can learn a little something in this book, and that is just really meaty, contains a lot of meat. And so I'm excited to get into it, and the next video will actually be the first part of the book of Philippians, and I will share some prompts for that as well. And even if this is not your junk journal here that you've got, you can still journal along with me as we go through this book, and as I prepare this junk journal for somebody else. So we're making headway there, and now I'm just kind of trying to think of whether or not I want to put something there. I'm not sure yet. I might stamp it out or come up with some other plans, but let me go ahead and get this put down. I've had some moments in life, you know, and we all, I'm sure, have stories we could share about times where our life has just come to a screeching halt. My husband lost his job at one point, and it was just really tough, you know, and you have to learn to rely on God, and you have to learn how to put your trust in Him, and that you trust that He's going to walk you through that. But in the midst of it, you think, can there possibly be joy in the midst of it? And I can give testimony to the fact that there is, that you can have joy even when times are really tough. But it means that you have to just kind of take advantage to the best of your ability of what you have at your disposal in that moment. And so I you know, you get called on to get creative. And if you're watching this video, I'm assuming that you have that creative bug already, and which is very helpful in times of trial, to rely on that creativity to help you work past the confinement and to experience the joy and the freedom in the midst of the trial. All right, here is my prompt there, and I think I've got that all going. I'm going to go ahead and turn you off while I dry my page right there. So they'll come back. Okay, I am back, and I think it's dry now, and I've added some things here to our little discussion about what to do with this page. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and ink this up so that we can distress it. And of course, I use this Distress ink by Tim Holtz, and I'm gonna just kind of go along the outside of this and get it, you know, just kind of age it a little bit, which goes along with what we're trying to do here. And I need some, whoops, you always gotta have a little bit of a droppage there of stuff every once in a while to keep you humble. All right, I'm gonna get this a little wet so that I can, found that trick really works well, is if you're running out of ink, rather than just keep adding ink, I can get a little more mileage out of it by adding the water, and it's just so much nicer. Okay, I like that. And then I want to go ahead and kind of ink the page as well. Even though I've coffee dyed this page, that process is really easy. The process that I use is, hold on, I have allergies. Sorry. Oh, anyway, welcome into my home here. I do coffee dyed paper in a very easy way. When we have leftover coffee in the mornings, I put my papers just some white papers or whatever I'm wanting to do, I just put it on a baking sheet, and then I go ahead and I pour the leftover coffee from the morning on top of it, and I just let it kind of soak in a little bit, and then I move the paper from the one coffee or from the one baking sheet over to a clean one, dump out the coffee, and then I put it on 300 for 20 minutes, depending on how many pages of paper that I do 20 to 30 minutes. And then I like it. I know some people iron out their coffee dyed paper. I like the crinkly paper. That's something that I just really enjoy, something about that. So all of my papers here are coffee dyed. Even this, that is a magazine page, I coffee dyed this. I don't always do my magazine pages with coffee dye, but I just happened to do it this time. So that's where we are with that. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink that up. It's a little too whitish for me. All right, I'm just going to kind of color it just a little bit, even though this is on a linen paper, and the paper is actually an antique white or an off-white. I'm just gonna, I don't want it to be too different than the rest of the book, so I needed to ink it up just a little bit and get in there. Okay, then I'm gonna smooth this out just a little bit. I like to get my glue smooth. I am, you learn new tricks with, everybody does their glue differently, and you just kind of have to go with what works. Because sometimes glue just doesn't work, and I have found that I have such a hard time with glues sometimes, finding the right ones that will stick. I get into trouble. All right, now what I would like to do is I'm gonna make a little paper clip, and I'm going to clip this in because it's kind of bulky, a little heavy, and I don't want to just stuff it in here. So I'm going to go ahead and make a little decorative clip. And I think I go about there. And because this has some yellow in it, I think I'm going to go with a little bit of yellow. Pick up now this will be tucked away, but this will be kind of nice. I like to double up my little things here. Now the way that I do this is I just kind of get a nice little opening there, kind of stick it through, and then I go ahead and bring these through like this. I'm not doing a very good job at it right now though. For some reason, I lost it. There we go. And then I just pull it up. So it's kind of like little bunny ears. And I'm not liking this clip, is kind of old, it looks like. And I'm not sure it's going to hold my paper very well. But we'll see what happens. You just never know, right? Okay, now the last thing that I'm going to do on this page at this point is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue this down. Now, the way that I did this paper is I used some of my fancy scissors to cut this, and I just kind of cut it at an angle there so that it would allow me to do that. So let me get myself going here. I'm going to do just the corner. Of course, we don't want to go down this way. I've made that mistake before, not thinking. And that should do it. And we're gonna put that right there and get that right there. Okay, I think that should be good. All right, so now we have that. I think one other thing that I want to do, I don't know, I was thinking about stamping a little bit here, but I think I'll pass because actually with everything going on the page, I probably don't need anything else on this page. It's pretty full. So let me just get this dried up and then I will show you, we'll finish it up. Let me just tell you one more thing. What I did here with the dried flowers is I put gesso on it. However, you can use this Mod Podge, which is a sealer. This also seals. I'm gonna check and see how well this does, and if this doesn't work as well as I would like it, then I will try this. But I have found that the matte, even though it says it's matte, it still kind of has a sheen to it, and I really like it to be a matte finish. So that's why I'm using this. This is clear matte acrylic gesso, and that should work. But if I'm finding that it's not doing what I want, then I'm gonna go back over it in the Mod Podge, and I'll probably just do the leaves in that case. That's my thinking on that. All right, I'm gonna let it dry and I'll come back and finish it up. Okay, this is the final part of this page. I wanted to mention again, if you missed some of the other videos, you might want to go back and watch the introduction to this. But the idea, of course, is that even if you're in jail, you can flourish. And so the motif here is kind of antique floral arrangements. Okay, so here's my page, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to clip this final piece on here. And guess what I did? Just did that wrong. So let's just start that all over again. I put it on the wrong way. Some of you probably noticed that and were really wondering when I was gonna figure that out. I've done that before when I've been watching videos and I see them do things upside down, and I just, you know, it's kind of like wait for it and just wait to see when it actually dawns on them that they have made a mistake. And mistakes can be fixed, usually. Okay, there we go. Now, go ahead and stick that on there. And that is my page on adapting to your confinement, I guess is what you would say. I'm gonna just ink that up a little bit. It's a little too white for me. Okay, so there you have it. Well, hope you have a great day, and remember to be mindful of what God is doing all around you. He certainly is at work.